we had a controversial one last night. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into First Take. Stephen A. Smith, Marcus Spears, Max Kellerman, Molly Karen Rose. How was the rest of the birthday?
My brother. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man.
How you doing? You all right?
You know what? I'm not good, but I'm all right.
You know you're my man, right?
Okay is okay. It's not
you
good.
know you're my man, right?
Yeah.
You know, I understand that you're hurting and you're in a lot of pain, and I just want to say,
Don't start.
hold on,
Dude,
hold on.
Don't patronize me.
I'm getting a little emotional right now. I'm getting a little emotional right now. I just want to say that, you know, I feel for you.
No, you don't.
I feel for you.
No, you don't. You don't care. Molly, what's up?
I'm good. I'm cool. How you doing?
Cares. He cares.
I feel bad for the city of Detroit after last night. I'm going to be honest with you.
There you go.
Let's get into it.
We can get into Detroit, not Dallas.
Who do you know from Detroit, Molly?
Not Dallas, we get into Detroit.
I got a lot of love for Detroit. Spent a lot of time there now.
Man, we gonna take it there.
It's true.
Oh, boy. Everybody buckle up. I have a feeling this is going to be a fun show. Let's get it. Normally, the story of Monday Night Football would be Aaron Rodgers, that bad man, and the Packers overcoming a 13-point deficit at Lambeau to snap a 4-game losing streak to the Lions. But instead, the headline is the officiating. Many felt Detroit was robbed after a few questionable calls went against the Lions. Max, I'm going to start with you. Is it fair to blame the refs for Detroit's loss?
Yes. Yes. I'm not taking credit away from Aaron Rodgers. I'll leave him to you. I know he's a bad man. But it's like you can't give Aaron Rodgers extra chances. It's bad enough. Like I tell this story a lot. Ryan Hollins, matter of fact, back in the day, he used to work on the radio sometimes in L.A. Over at my place, we're watching a Packers playoff game.
Did he give hot takes back then?
Oh, yeah. And Aaron Rodgers throws that bomb against Arizona, throws that bomb that no one else in the history of football till Mahomes came around could have thrown on the run across his body, the whole thing. Touchdown. Oh, no, they call it back, right? And I remember saying, I said, okay, Ryan, Aaron Rodgers, I'm saying he's the best I've ever seen. Let me see you do that again. Mm-hmm. Money's on the line. He did the same thing again on the next play. It's ridiculous. It's bad enough if you take chances away from Aaron Rodgers. You're giving him extra chances? Stephen A., this is real simple. And it's never one thing, but like you could always, well, it's this is real simple. You're down 9. There's 8 minutes left. A nonsense penalty means negates the fact that you have to punt. You're going to have to punt down 9 with 8 minutes. The overwhelming likelihood, even with Aaron Rodgers, is you will lose that game. The refs blow the whistle. Nothing happened. If anyone was fouled, it was the other guy. And as a result, Aaron Rodgers scores a touchdown and winds up winning the game.
Yeah.
So, of course, you can blame the refs for that loss. Absolutely.
Well, it's a couple of things, okay? I think that we need to take things into consideration. First of all, before I say anything else, let me just say, Molly, the blue is slamming.
Thank
you.
you.
The point where all of us here wearing blue, she putting us to shame. That blue is fly. I got to say that.
I'm glad y'all approved.
I got to give props where props is
Max,
due.
you want to tell them your real thoughts
Usually
on
if
it?
it's a blue.
I just wanted to know if it's technically considered pajamas or loungewear. I'm not sure.
I feel you on that, but the blue, the color is fly, so I got to give credit where it's outstanding.
Okay, let me just be honest to America. It's actually a dress, but I thought it was too short and inappropriate, so I wore pants underneath.
It don't matter. The color blue is slamming. All right, that's number one. Let me get to the football element here. Did you see those dime passes that Aaron Rodgers threw to Scantling, to the Lazard? I mean, Lord have mercy.
He did look nice.
That bad man just showed up last night and reminded y'all, excuse me, you must have forgot. Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, Jimmy G, a.k.a. porn star Jimmy. I'll talk about him later, along with a bunch of others.
Your nickname, not mine.
That's mine. And by the way, I am not criticizing him. I keep telling y'all that. It is not a criticism, okay? But here's the deal. Listen, Aaron Rodgers just reminded y'all who the hell he was. All right, now, let's get to the Detroit Lions. Yeah, a couple of questionable calls because obviously if you're talking about putting somebody, your hands on somebody, you're tugging away at them. You ain't at their neck. You're not in their face masks. Defensive linemen do those moves all the time. I don't understand why it was called, but don't tell me. I'm not saying it was the right call. I'm saying don't tell me it cost them the game. Excuse me, you got to run an attack. Kerryon Johnson's your leading rush. He rushed for 34 yards. Really? Really? That got something to do with those questionable calls at the end? I don't think so. When you look at Galladay, he had a big game, 5 targets, 121 yards. We get all of that. But the reality of the situation is there were ample opportunities for the Detroit Lions to put points on the board. They didn't do it. When you look at the Green Bay Packers, okay, let's take this into consideration. Jamal Williams, 14 carries, 104 yards, 7.4 yards per carry. I'm sorry, where the hell was your run defense? It wasn't there to stop him, all right? We saw it wasn't there to stop Aaron Rodgers with those 2 big plays that I highlighted. So when I look at it from that perspective, I'm thinking that there were too many pivotal things that happened in favor of the Green Bay Packers to tell me that that's the reason.
Including the referee's call.
Time out. But listen, when you talk about Mason Crosby, right? Well, how far away were they? They were already in Detroit territory. They were already in a position to kick a winning field goal. Now, obviously, it made it a chip shot and what have you. All I'm trying to say.
And they couldn't get the ball back.
Time out. All I'm trying to say is that at the end of the day, if you are the Detroit Lions, there are a lot of things you did, all right, to mess this opportunity up. It didn't come down to those 2 questionable calls. It came down to the fact that you're a damn good team. Matt Patricia's doing a hell of a job with you. You're a team to be reckoned with, but it just showed us and reminded us there are levels to this, and the Detroit Lions ain't quite there yet.
Max, I see your point, and I totally understand. And in that regard, you're absolutely right. The sticking point is the referees took a possession away from the Detroit Lions, even though they would have been down 22-23 perceivably, because Mason Crosby would have hit the field goal. They would have had an opportunity to go back down the field.
For like a minute, minute 20.
Herein lies the issue with that. We don't know what would have happened. What we know happened was that the Lions didn't score in 2 red zone drives. That's what we know. We know that if the Lions score in those 2 red zone drives, the game never comes to that point, right? The call, listen, I'm a former defensive lineman, right? And I was talking about this morning. Calls have always been missed in the NFL. It's been heightened because of replay. Because of the implementation of replay, we've now, as fans, as analysts, we've had opportunities to digest these calls and say, that's the wrong call. That's the wrong call. And that's what we wanted. We wanted the opportunity to change things because they were wrong. Now, what you enter into, and this is what people have been saying, I'm not blaming fans, I'm not blaming us, because the call is missed or the call is made. My point is this, with that particular situation, when you talk about a ref making a judgment call, which has happened since the beginning of time in football.
And Bakhtiari sold it.
He sold it. You should have the opportunity to look at that and say, hey, this is wrong. You need to change.
But here's for the both of you. Okay? I understand what you're saying. Lots of factors go into the game, right? And if the ref's blowing some calls on one side, some calls on the other, that's one thing. In the end of the game, it's right. There's no guarantee that Matthew Stafford leads them down the field and scores in a minute 20. It's more likely the Packers win. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about you stop Aaron Rodgers and the Packers with 8 minutes left in the game, down 9. They're going to have to punt. They lost 10-plus yards on that play. They're going to have to punt the ball. And instead, fresh series of downs, and Aaron Rodgers marches them right down the field. Now, the question then becomes, did they make or miss the call? They missed the call that resulted in them not having to punt, period. And even that doesn't guarantee you beat the Packers. But if you had to say take odds, you'd say, oh, yeah, Lions going to win this game now.
But you're very big on the odds. Hold on 1 second. You're very big on the odds. And what I would ask you to do respectfully, Maximilian, I would ask you to make up your mind. Is he a bad man or not? Because here's the reality. Are you telling me that with 8 minutes left in the game, that particularly
on
with Green Bay,
Stephen A's birthday.
Wait, that's right.
Good point.
Say it if it's true. All right. So are you telling me that on my birthday, okay, that bad man, because I don't know if you noticed, Aaron Rodgers loves your brother now. Aaron loves me. You understand what I'm saying? He gave me a birthday wish on camera last year. All right, that's my man right there. Here's the question. With 8 minutes left, you trying to tell me with a defense that because of something that happened with 8 minutes left that Aaron Rodgers and Green, that's why they won?
Wait, it's possible, but don't forget, even though the
don't
Packers,
give me possibilities,
even though the Packers defense was stout in the red zone, the fact is the Lions were outplaying them throughout the game.
All,
and let me say this about the Packers. I'm an Aaron Rodgers Packers fan. To me, the Packers are America's team. In terms of the outer market teams that I root for, teams that I root for, I like the Packers better than the Lions. When they play, I'm like, go Pack. Tell you the truth as a fan. But I got to tell you what I see.
See, I get enamored when you start spitting these stats out because it's always funny to me because that's your boy and he a bad man. You get to screaming and all of that. And people get excited.
Well, first of all, I know how to be cool without screaming.
First of all,
the stats haven't been that
I'm
great
talking about when it comes to Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, Marcus gets the last
This the problem
word,
with stats. They only had 20 points.
I understand.
All right? They only had 20 points. For all of the great things that your bad man was doing,
That's right.
they had 20 points.
Right.
So to Mac's point, when you give him an extra possession and you take one away from the Lions, everybody would have cause for concern. What I'm with you on is you don't score in the red zone. And I can't get over that. Because as a defensive player, my coach not coming in the meeting saying we should have had an extra possession, so we should have won the game. I'm 100% with you on that. But the opportunity that was taken away, you can look at that and say that.
You're not going anywhere. All 5 games by the Lions this season decided by 4 points or less.
Molly, I need you to say something.
What?
He's a bad.
No, I'm not
Stephen
saying
A, I agree with you.
You already got all your birthday
Tell her
presents.
it's Tom Brady. That's the saying.
I agree with you. That's a bad
All right, would y'all leave me alone?
That's
Cam
right.
is getting closer to full health, but should he be worried that his next snap could be with another team? Stephen A, what else you got today?
As always, we got a lot more to come up on First Take. Is it justified that Patrick Mahomes is no longer the favorite for the NFL's MVP honors? Plus, you won't want to miss our reaction to LeBron James' comments on China and the NBA. And I'll tell you why Doug Peterson might regret his bold statement about the Philadelphia Eagles' chances in Big D this